We're 100 days from the election now, less than. I have a hard time believing the Wayfair thing based on the Russia. Mostly anything dealing with Russia, I have a hard time to believe.
You fill 1,700 pages, and maybe you'll want to write more of them. I mean, everything we're talking about, you could have a page and a half.
And maybe they'd read more of them too.
Yeah.
Because the long form discussion is taking over these news segments, are taking over these spoon-fed, prepackaged media sound bites that we get every day.
Media. Yep.
Do you think anyone on the left should have been blamed for this?
The insurrection?
Yeah.
Yeah, I think the entire media.
And this is extremely dangerous to our democracy.
Hey everyone, Dave here. December 1773. With me as always is Ryan. With me sometimes is our studio invaders. The studio is sacred, but they are here anyway. Make sure you watch us YouTube, Facebook, and Rumble. Like the video, share the video, comment along, and of course, like I said, subscribe. Ryan has an opening statement, which is always interesting.
Yeah. Two things. I dropped my phone and broke the screen again.
Mm-hmm. This
is what I'm operating on. I have
some of it works.
I have like 2/3. I have like a finger and a half of my screen gone.
Mostly there.
Highly inconvenient, especially when I'm trying to swipe left and right on all these dating apps that are trash. So I'm going to lead that right into my opening misogyny this week. Dave tagged me in a comment about Hooters hiring bigger women. Now, it's fine. I don't care. Don't expect to get tipped more than the hot, thinner waitress. Okay? Just expect it. I don't care. It is what it is. Love all sizes. All that. Great. My favorite part was Dave's comment that just said, this woman's a legend. And the woman commented basically just saying the same thing. Just like, ladies, let's be mindful here, basically. And for a woman to call out other women is kind of big. I bet you that woman is married. I didn't look into her, but it'd be hilarious if she was married and all these single girls are bagging on her. But anyways, my point, I'm not going to name any names, but Dave was severely attacked in the comments to precede it. And all I'm going to say is us as men need to realize that women stick together in ways that men do not. And they will always reinforce the sisterhood. But to just see this woman stepping outside of that sisterhood, bad-mouthing women, and then somebody just commenting something that later gets attacked, just shows like the layer of a lot of things. Something particular this week that happened politically, not to get ahead of headlines, but some stuff that happened locally, politically, I don't even care anymore about the way people feel about it. It's just the way it is now. So,
Ryan, you said not to get ahead of headlines, but luckily you really didn't. Some of these are things we already know. All of these are things we already know, actually, weirdly. We've talked about this. We can see it coming. This specifically we definitely knew. Headlines. New York Post reveals that Facebook censored pro Kyle Rittenhouse posts long before he even went to court. But we know that.
Yeah, not only do we know that, but that is called the court of public opinion, which is far more popular, far much more powerful, and far much more political. So here we go again. I'm glad that they're making the metaverse. I'm sure they won't censor anybody there. Dude, I can't wait to get inducted into the black metaverse, the underground. Something quick about the metaverse, not to get crazy off of this, but did you notice that the metaverse logo itself is like the infinity sign?
Yeah.
Right, and not only that, but it's stretched out to almost look like sunglasses. Like you put them over your face, like this infinity.
Well, that's your infinity VR.
Infinite possibilities. Anyways, Facebook doesn't surprise us. Always called this out. Quite frankly, happened to us, continually happens to us. Doesn't surprise me. But for Kyle Rittenhouse, just a branch quickly. Kyle Rittenhouse's trial happened, and it was super in the spotlight. And the one happening for Ghislaine Maxwell is also happening simultaneously now. As the Kyle Rittenhouse drama is winding down, the Ghislaine Maxwell thing is able to skirt under the political radar. Of course, holidays are coming: Thanksgiving, Christmas, New Year's. He will be fat
Delta
and happy.
variant.
Yeah, this is what we call the ability to slide it under your nose because you're worried about other things. The classic distraction: football, Super Bowl after the first of the year. So this is like when you see a lot of these shenanigans happening. But yeah, just full circle. Doesn't surprise me. Doesn't surprise us. Quite frankly, Ghislaine Maxwell thing, this is a strategy for them to censor this. And I'm sure Facebook is willing to take heat for Kyle Rittenhouse every day of the week about their censoring instead of the other way around with Ghislaine Maxwell, because they're trying to keep that Ghislaine, whatever her name is. But
Ryan, I don't know if you saw this one. I'm gonna guess you didn't see this.
I haven't seen much. It's actually been a nice week for me.
Slightly under the radar with your, again, broken phone. I went through a quick, there was a weird segment I went through where I broke a bunch of phones in a row. Just weirdly.
Was it like the last 15 years of your life?
No, I was actually really good for a while, and then like 3 phones in a row just broke. One, I was just sitting by a fire, went to pull it out of my pocket, shattered.
See, I was breaking phones that were indestructible, like all the phones that we used to like roll over with our cars and stuff. Like I broke those phones too. Like it's just.
That's impressive.
Yeah, I'm a Matrix warrior, bro.
Anyway, back to the thing that you haven't seen. Headlines. The WHO is seeking a new treaty on handling future pandemics.
Oh, that's weird. Just a power grab. Just a straight power grab, open power grab. Is this part of the global funding to be like global government? Is this the first global treaty of scientific origins for the global government?
They got to get it from somewhere. In the article, actually, it does use the term New World Order in the article, too, which is interesting because they...
No way! No way!
Yeah, I don't have it here, but I know where I do have it. Just give me a second on my non-broken phone. I'll look it up for you.
Not broken phone. I like how you script that in. For the record, I didn't like break my phone out of like being irresponsible this time. This time it was just plain stupidity, So I was at work. I was up on a scaffolding like 30 feet, and it fell out of my pocket. There's nothing I can do. It's not like what happened last time.
The idea behind this upcoming session of the World Health Assembly, Tedros says, is to start sketching out a new world order to handle future health crises. I mean, they used to not say that.
Oh, my God. I think a guy, he used to say these words all the time. He got banned from the internet. I don't even remember his name anymore.
I don't know what you're talking about. Man, this
I mean, this isn't new. Honestly, like, AJ used to have like a cutout on his program of like all these people referencing like very organized government global ideas, like Reagan said New World Order and other things, or Bush, one of the two. I think it was Bush. Anyways, importance is they're just open with the same time around Christmas. This is beautiful, and of course, like you said, that was in the article, right? Like the actual.
Yeah, that was their terms. New World Order.
This is kind of, what this is so beautiful. This reminds me of like when you get a new product and you have to hit the agree, right? Like I accept this. That's what the news is now, right? They're like, well, we told you everything. I didn't know this was going to happen. Like, well, it was in the news article. Like, you guys just didn't read it. You
didn't scroll all the way to the 3rd page at the bottom.
Yeah, you just hit accept when it said headlines, and then whatever Dave says.
Fauci delivers bad news to anyone hoping COVID-19 was going away as the new variant causes alarm. That's weird. It's almost like what you said. This is never going away. Once you give up, once they take an inch, they take it all.
Why would they give it up? Why would they?
Yeah, why would they give it back to you?
They're openly talk about building back better. My dad and I were talking the other day about how the railroads were built by the barons of industry, right? Like the oil barons. Yeah, it wasn't government built. It wasn't all.
Some slaves and things too.
all the same thing. These people are openly talking about building back better, using your dollar. I've seen a thing about inflation and how Republicans are attacking Democrats and Biden on inflation. Like, I hope so. I hope somebody's attacking somebody on inflation, and they're attacking you because at the same time you're trying to pass an infrastructure bill that will continually devalue the dollar while we're already experiencing crazy things.
Well, this gets a little more interesting too, because this is what I saw recently also. Headlines. President Biden calls for higher fees for oil and gas leasing on federal land.
Dude, think about it. Put it all together. We're talking about New World Order. We're talking about shortages of you've seen the thing that there was like, obviously we're all having this gas problem, and that's what this is about. But they talked about how they had some oil in reserve they were going to use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, what was it enough for like 30 days or 3 months or something?
It was like, I think it was a few days, like 20, 12 days, 5 days. But the point of the barrels of oil is for the military. It's not for Joe Biden to save his ass. So I actually came across the first Joe Biden I did that sticker in my local community.
Oh, and actually in person.
Oh, yeah, I took a picture. I was smiling so hard. It was a great day. Just to circle back to Mask Lee Fauci there, it's crazy this guy is just going to keep milking this, man. People are so willing.
Well, not even just this guy, though. The entire United States government and, quite frankly, the entire world governments.
I know, but Fauci right now is like the, if you were to put EmojiCon and tie it to COVID as an overall like symbol, it would be Fauci's face. I mean, let's be honest. I mean, this guy's right like Santa Claus right now. Whatever the guy says, we're going to do. Pretty remarkable. But why would they give up power? I mean, for real, they're not going to give up power willingly. I mean, absolute power corrupts that. It doesn't. I don't know why people are surprised by this. I don't know why we don't think that this is going to keep happening. New variants, new strands, new this. This is a variant. The whole thing's been a variant since the beginning of another virus and all these other things. The test can't test the difference between this and other coronaviruses and all the other crazy information we've been dipped. Yeah, doesn't surprise me. And the gas, what was the actual gas headline? He's trying to work with China, right?
Oh, the one from last week?
Yeah.
Yeah, the news was just absolutely praising Biden and China for lowering gas prices.
Yeah, working open communists. When we were bad for the earth all the time.
I mean, this just all leads to this, though, and if you don't think this is coming to somewhere near you, you're out of your mind. Headlines. Uganda's only international airport is now under Chinese control due to a default on loan payments.
Yeah, go figure. Go figure. Go figure. What happens when, this is
good thing we're not going to default on our loans.
Oh, my God. Dude, they openly talk about New World Order. And what's the first place of a New World Order is getting the land. And what better way to get the land than have a rep memorandum on everything and anybody that's a private landlord that can basically buy and hold equity in land, and then you bankrupt them because people don't have to pay them, and then they default on their mortgage, which people always say, well, F the banks, right? Well, the issue is the banks are bailed out by the government. So we have a continuously cycle of bad lending and then bad policy on government and monetary policy that keeps thriving and having the very system. But the problem is when everybody goes bankrupt this time, the Chinese will call in their debts. They've been waiting to call in their debts. Mike Pompeo has said this basically when he went over there in 2000. It was right before the election, like 19 or 20. And he went over there, and I'm sorry, he talked about when we went over there and we were seeing the way the communists were and everything else. Yeah, this is crazy. It's not going to be good, man. This is, we know what's going to happen. We've always talked about it, hyperinflation and all this other stuff. We always talk about this every week.
Yeah, it's no surprise. Like I said, it's not going to stop in Uganda. This is just the start of things.
Yeah, I mean, I remember seeing articles years ago that talked about how Chinese businessmen were buying up whole counties in rural America. Mm-hmm. Where do they grow the food, David?
Rural America.
Yeah, Kevin came on here with you and had the people and the food and all that. He had great breakdown on that. Controls the people, controls the food.
Which is funny because I saw something I shared in the group. We didn't really talk about it here, but it was an article about Don't worry if the turkey prices are too high. You can always use soy turkey. That's
like not buy turkey. Be like, do you remember a few years ago when you locked everything down? You had to murder like millions of chickens, and then we're like, chickens at an all-time high. It's like you killed them all. You killed all the fucking good ones. You killed all the ones that made it cheaper. And you're like, well, I wonder why chicken's so expensive.
They know why.
But yeah, I know. But the problem is they lied to us, right? Like not you and I. We're the info warriors, right? At least that's even a non-flag term. But we're like the people that have the conversation and to vote and be like try to educate people, all this other stuff. But like this is ludicrous. They openly talked about New World Order this week. That's beautiful.
Yeah,
really.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
I don't have any other headlines, but the reason is I do have Decembertainment.
What's your Decembertainment?
Well, when we get to Decembertainment, we'll talk about Decembertainment.
Okay.
This Decembertainment is courtesy of Eve.
All right.
And Goodwill. Brought to you by Eve and Goodwill.
Oh, I cannot wait to hear this. All right. Well, I guess I'm just gonna like rant for a minute here because I've been really thinking heavy. You know, obviously everything's coming on with Christmas, and we're seeing like talked about not having as many products on the shelves and all this other things. I mean, we've literally seen all these policies that basically the former president was trying to prevent, and this president is encouraging. So that's pretty sad. And
that's
Dave,
really the biggest difference between the two of them.
Yeah, and Dave sent me a poll. I don't know what the poll is, where it was from. If you could maybe have it handy, I don't know if it's possible. What the 4% of Americans think it's a good thing. I don't know who it was. I mean, if 4% of Americans are happy wherever this poll was taken, I don't care. I want to live there because I need to talk to these 96% upset people. Because the real thing is like we can't live like this. You know, like this can't keep going on. We can't keep being caught in a rabbit wheel of a new variant of a sickness that obviously, I mean, Joe Biden had more deaths under his presidency faster than Donald Trump did. Donald Trump had to contain the outbreak and battle the logistics of getting the science to where it is today. He helped lay the groundwork expediently, right? If we're going on federalizing the entire government. Joe Biden inherited a vaccine. He inherited no data. He inherited all these things, flattening the curve, all these other, things we tried. And he has more deaths faster. What does that tell you? Only one person in the world really changed, and then his whole regime, obviously. But this 94%, how am I supposed to believe the guy with low approval numbers is also the most elected man in the history of this country? Not that many people voted against Donald Trump because he was Donald Trump. There's no way, man. There's no way. And you know, if that is the fact, it's a sad because I know the people that are Trumpkins that were getting hated for hating this thing. I hope some of them were actually like trying to educate people and trying to tell them that gas was going to go through the freaking roof. So I've never in my life since I started driving, which was under Barack Obama when gas was similar to this price, ever looked at it and be like, holy crap, that's a lot of money. And I'm starting to do that again. It's crazy.
So the poll was actually done by CBS/YouGov, and the poll resulted that only 4% of Americans think the country is doing, quote, very well. Some 70% said things are going very badly or somewhat badly, and 26% said things were going somewhat well.
Dave, can you look up what consumer confidence is after this? Because I always remember when Trump was at the time, they were like, consumer confidence is an all-time high. Spending and expenditures and all these other things. I don't care what it's in relation to Trump. I just wonder if they're even referencing that or if there is like a poll that has recently been pulled for that. Like it doesn't even fit their talking points lately to even reference consumer confidence. Because I mean, the pattern and headlines here, like we don't just get on here. You know, I was actually thinking about this very recently with the amount of times we get on here and we always say we talk about it, but we don't just get on here. Like there's a pattern here. Not only is there a pattern, it's expected. And if they're not talking about these other things, that may be telling in itself. So,
from what I can see, consumer confidence as of right now is 99.5. Which for scale, Let's look at some Trump. See, the thing is, because the numbers don't give you a lot of scale.
Well, I also don't think maybe that was a bad number to reference, but because people are always happy about spending money. So,
but just to your point, though, when the economy was, when people were talking about Donald Trump's economy, the consumer confidence was over 101, and now in this booming Joe Biden economy, it's 99.5. But but this is where it comes with moving goalposts. If that's the thing you're going to reference.
Sorry.
When Joe Biden's numbers are lower than that, then let's keep it straight here. Which is it?
It's kind of funny, right? Because I'm just thinking about this, like, we have fact checking, right? Like, Facebook will fact check in real time. Where's the history check? Why can't we have, I'm not saying I want this or anything.
That's the ultimate fact check.
Well, right, but that's what I'm saying. That's why they don't have it. But you could, Joe Biden's poll numbers, and then you could have underneath it, like, the past president poll numbers at this time, and these numbers, and you could actually show people a progression of the last 20 years. If you can fact check it that quick, you can reference all the history that quick.
You know why they don't do that.
I know exactly why they don't do that, because it would red pill and here's another thing. We don't just get on here to shit talk the mainstream media. It's like, because when Trump was president, it was all the encouraging of all these big media corporations and everybody else. They were directing you towards something else they were getting paid for, and that was probably like shopping advertisements and drugs, and like they were bribed too. Even though we think Trump had a better time and we like Trump more, even, but. The point is like this whole mainstream narrative is trash, and to see it displayed every week and like to be able to call them on their lies, predict it, and then because it's the government policy if it's in the mainstream. Like this is what they really that's what they actually want. Yeah, it's not. I mean, these think tanks don't exist for no reason. So, were you going to pull something up or?
No.
Okay, well I got something I got to reference, and then we can get to December tainment here. But so. I've already beat inflation to death, but just keep it in mind. Just keep it in mind, man. You referenced the new COVID strand, whatever they're calling it. It's not the African strand. That's weird.
Omicron or something?
Omicron. I almost want to like define what that means, because Omni is like 8, right? Omni-dimensional. Chrome, Tron. That's what I've been doing lately with the government narrative, just ripping it apart by words. Because it's got to mean something. Where'd they even get this word from?
Omicron variant. Spreads in Europe.
Okay, where did they get the word Omicron from? Like, what is this? Why is it so symbolic? Is it... Like, is this just another Because it's weird that we're not talking about COVID-19, right? It's not a thing anymore. It's like the Delta variant, the Omicron variant, the UK variant, like these Indian variant. It's like these things have taken on characteristics, and then you think they're all separate branches, and there's all these things, but they're really just all the difference of the same exact.
So, Omicron is the 15th letter of the Greek alphabet, and according to this. Name was given Omicron from a letter in it's literally why though? There's got to be a reason.
You ever see that South Park one? They cut the chicken's head off and it runs around and it lays down, and that's how that's your refund. That's what they just did there. Dartboard in the dark. Yeah, there's a reason. Omicron. Come on, it sounds like a freaking metaverse term here. Is this going to be it should be a new crypto. I wonder if that will take off. Omicron.
They really don't tell you why.
Yeah, I also noticed on the news, I've been noticing the photographs too. We always reference headlines, but we never talk about the artwork they use with them, because that's also equally as troubling. And some of the things I've been seeing about vaccines are like disputes over mask mandates, and then it shows like a woman in a syringe veil, and it's like dark and mysterious and like creepy looking. It's like, but I noticed that the COVID, how COVID-19 before it had like the little red tips on the virus molecule.
Yeah.
This one's like green and strung out. It looks like snot bubbles. So I don't know if they're just making it look different to make it look different, or it really looks like that. But they're really getting carried away here. All right, last thing. Look, I'm not a doctor. I'm not a politician. I'm not anybody of any kind of influential power. But what I am is a critical thinking adult. And I also am a free blood American, last I checked. Mark Poloncarz.
You must have checked a while ago.
Mark Poloncarz in Erie County has implemented a mask mandate.
That's weird.
Let's take a round of applause for the people that want to take one, because go right at it. I don't care why he did it. I don't care how he does it. I don't care who agrees with it. I don't care who disagrees with it. I am telling you, as a free man, last I checked, I am not wearing a mask in public. I told a friend this week, he went to a bar, and if you said you were vaccinated, they checked to see if you were vaccinated.
What do they run a blood test?
I just, I don't hate. This is the problem with it. You know what I mean? Because us in the Patriot movement, I'll call it, just the widespread anti-establishment ideas, the Patriots, right? That we always romanticize. We always try to pick our fights, right? And we always know that our fights is not with the person at Walmart. It's not the person it's not even the business owner's fault that he has to go against these rules. But I'm not I don't want to destroy my local economy either. But we can't be going to these places, because I'll tell you, the Nazi thing gets thrown around a lot, but I never thought in my fucking life that I would be asked to show any identification to do anything in a private establishment. I mean, the only time I've ever had to show ID to enter somewhere is a government building. So if I'm going to private establishments wearing masks, aren't those all by default then, government regulations making it a government building? So now all businesses are governmentized in a weird way. They're corporate government entities now. Once again, I'm not mad at the business owners. I'm not mad at the waitress. I'm not mad at the Walmart employee. But I'm going to tell you, if these people say anything to me, if I have a basket full of clothes or groceries, they're going on the floor.
I'm just not doing it.
Or I'm going to go to self-scan and scan myself. You are going to physically have to block me from doing my thing. Because, look, I did this for 2 years. I flattened the curve. I watched grandparents die from bad government policy.
Just for 2 weeks, though.
I watched it go from you don't need a jab to you need a jab to you got to keep your job to religious freedom to not religious freedom to exemptions to no exemptions to children to no children to unmasked to masks to masks to masks, extra masks and respirators. I've seen it all. I've seen we don't have enough ventilators and we have no hospital beds, even though we've never had enough hospital beds. I've seen it all. I've seen it. I did it. I did it. Remember, we didn't have a vaccine. Remember, we didn't have trivectamine or whatever, ivermectin, that is a thing that actually works.
You're not really going to take a horse tranquilizer, are you?
Oh, that's weird. I'm sure we ingest things all the time made for other animals.
Nope.
Look, I'm not telling anybody what to do, but you got to stop complying. You have to stop believing. You have to stop going with them. They will physically have to stop me from buying my groceries. Now, this is one thing. I'm not going to go to the mall. I went to the mall the other day, for example, did not wear a mask. Nobody said shit to me except one person at a place my daughter wanted to go to. I said, fine. My daughter was unmasked. As soon as I seen her, I took her mask off. We walked around the whole mall, talked to a bunch of people, there's other people without masks too. I seen some people pull their masks off when they see me not have a mask. I don't want to get people sick. I don't want to do none of this, but we already did it. We already re-engineered society. I already seen the mass government information, and I'm not even going to explain this to anybody. I'm not doing it. It's not even worth our time as those patriots. It's not worth it. Just don't do it. And if they give you a hard time, leave. But once again, I don't expect the mall to let me walk around and buy brand new jeans. You know what I'm saying? But if I'm in Tops and I have like actual food in my hands, I will steal the food if I have to. I will steal it. And quite frankly, it sounds extreme, but don't make reasonable men do unreasonable acts. And I mean, there's no bail referendum, right? You're going to let me go. I can steal up to X amount of stuff. The cops don't even get called. They don't even bother, right? I'm going to go home with free. I actually saved money. Maybe I should tell the Walmart guy that. Should I pay you? Do you want a job? I've been stopped before by those door greeters. They're like, I'm going to need to check your receipt. I was like, no, you don't. Have a good night. They don't have you. They only do it because you allow them. You only do it because you comply. Maybe now I realize why I was such a problem child, other than maybe my childhood. But I got internal, and I had summer school. I had no problem getting in trouble. This is my calling, not wearing a mask and arguing with people about it. Once again, I'm not going to be mad at these people. I'm going to tell them no thank you. Mark Poloncarz is a corrupt dictator, and he has no authority. We have plenty of information, resources, technology, and trusting science that we don't need this. I know what this is. This is also a punishment to the people of Erie County for not getting a socialist in. That may sound like it's reaching, but it's not reaching. Best believe Mark Poloncarz wanted a socialist, because that means more government resources and more government funding for Erie County, which is where Buffalo is. So this is not by default. He didn't endorse anybody, I don't believe, because he didn't want to be picking the wrong side. And then what are we going to fight this political election coming up that he made you mask and shut down your businesses? Everybody did that, first of all. And second of all, there's way other problems. But yeah, I'm glad we're focusing on this now. Don't comply. And if they make a big deal, stop. We have to stop going there. We can drive to counties around us and go other places. Niagara County, Genesee County, Orleans County, Chautauqua County, these other places, everywhere but Erie County. I will drive other places and spend my money there if I have to. I will starve the state of their tax revenue on the county sales tax. Because for those who don't know, it's not just state tax on products. There's a county tax on there as well. And it might only be like a tenth of a penny, but if you buy 100 things, that's 1 penny. I will starve Erie County. I would hate to do it, but these people don't make reasonable men do unreasonable things, and we have to start picking our battles. And I also told this to the chat, and anybody can get a hold of me. I'm not endorsing trying to get people sick or anything. But if you want to meet up and not be masked and not be shackled, we can all go shopping together. If you want to get 5 or 6 or 10 people to all go shopping together, because you'll feel more comfortable in numbers, they're less likely to tell us to put masks on if we're all not wearing masks. That's what we have to do. Let's do it. Get a hold of me. You guys know how to do it. But I'm not going to keep ranting about this. But the reason I'm being so like bold and like stern on this is that we've literally complied. We've literally here on this program covered the lies, covered the double dip, and covered the truths, covered the science, covered the censorship, covered the everything else. We've covered the celebrity fantasizing of these people, these golden calves that Fauci has become. Like I said, he's the emoji-con representation of COVID. So never forget that these people need to just be put in their place. So Dave, I'll let you go Decembertainment before I do give mine.
I think everyone's going to like this. Eve picked up at Goodwill. Should show up fairly well. This is Kids' Letters to President Kennedy. And it's an excerpt of, there's a lot of them there. A bunch of different letters that children wrote to the president. A couple takes. One take. The public opinion of a president, whether he was a popular or unpopular president, must have been very different than it is now.
Because it was highly respectable, right?
Yeah, even if there's some in here that even if they disagree with him or didn't vote for him or his parents didn't vote, they still had a respect for him as a president, which kind of makes sense why they don't now. I kind of understand, but I just wanted to read a couple of my favorite ones from here, just things I either found funny or, whatever the case may be. First one, Dear Mr. President. This is solid foreshadowing. Would you come to Dallas and come to my house and bring the kids? The kids can go swimming at the pool. Herbert T. I know I'm speaking from the future, but this does not turn out well for President Kennedy.
They had to put that one in there, didn't they? They had to. They had all those stories, all these letters written. Like, let's put one in from Dallas.
There's some super based kids in here. I like some of these. Dear Mr. President, I am an 8-year-old boy. I was wondering if you had the time to answer my question. Could you please tell me what taxes are for? From Jeffrey H.
That kid grew up to be a conservative.
That kid's a legend.
Dave, would you also say that the overall scheme was more heavily leaning Republican in nowadays terms?
Yeah, absolutely. Honestly, and I've said this in the past about some public figures, but like Kennedy, I'm not saying he'd necessarily be a Republican, but he wouldn't be a Democrat. I can tell you that. He advocated for lower taxes. Tell me a Democrat who's advocating for lower taxes right now. Name one. Can't do it.
Just on the middle class, but we'll pay more. What?
Dear President Kennedy, I am writing you to ask a question which no one I know can answer. Here is the question. Why are we trying to get to the moon? I would appreciate an answer if you have the time. Thank you. Sincerely, Charles K.
Yo.
What, like, how much, why are we even going to the moon? Come on, why are we spending this money? This is probably my favorite one. Dear Mr. Kennedy, I am 9 years old. I want to know if you are for or against communism. Carol F. Carol F's a legend. And this is another great one. This guy definitely grew up to be a libertarian. Dear John F. Kennedy, I want to stop all wars, but I can't because I'm too little. I'm 7.5 years old. I don't like wars. I think it's stupid and nobody can make me change my mind. And if you can, I want you to write me a letter and tell me what you think of wars. Your friend, David R.
Dude,
but the whole book is just loaded with letters like this. I mean, they're so great.
What I love about this book is these kids are asking better questions than journalists are nowadays.
Yeah. Oh, yeah, definitely. I mean, like, some of these are great. Dear John, I'm a little late, but I am sorry Kentucky went for Mr. Nixon. Bruce G.
Yo.
I mean, they're just, like, some of them are random, like, hey, Dear President Kennedy, how are you? I am fine. I have wrote to you before. I have a black puppy. His name is Happy. He is a bulldog. He is 10 months old. Please send me a letter and a picture. George. But yeah, it was entertaining. It was a good read to just go through them. If you're around, I'll let you read through it, or I can bring it out to you one time. It's definitely interesting to see just the history of how people used to. I mean, you can't make that book today.
Yeah, it'd be like imagine taking the compilation of the best tweets against the president, or the ones that got the most engagement, right? Because those are the most popular, right? That's how we gauge them, right? Most engagement is the most popular.
My favorite part, I think, is that you can tell that these are they're actually written by kids, whereas now, like, adults use kids as, like, propaganda pieces, and you can tell things are not written by children. Like, these are very obviously written by children.
It's hilarious, man. So what was it? Just like on a shelf at Goodwill, you picked it up and noticed it?
Yeah, you can tell it's. I mean, the light's a little bright, but you can tell it's pretty rough. Like,
yeah, it's probably been in a bathroom for a long time.
Yeah, I don't want to think about that, but
that was a dumping book, bro, or a library book.
There's like one of them, the kid's like building a rocket.
Dude, I love the old school drawings.
Yeah, it's pretty wild. Good read.
Well, I guess this will kind of old school artwork will segue nicely into one of my December entertainments. I got a couple, but just gonna breeze through. I want to have not like a conversation because it could go on for a while. I told my dad the other day I downloaded this. It's like a 12-bit modern game. You know what I mean? Like, it's a new game made to look like old school Mario Brothers. And it's like one of those turn-based RPGs that you select your tech and stuff. Basically like how Pokemon battles. Not that I play Pokemon, just saying that's what it's like. And I was telling my dad and my friend that it's kind of, I think the older I get, the more I miss that when video games were more complete. You know what I mean? Like there was no DLC, there was no like extension, there was no like adding, there was no like ability to fix it later, there's less glitches, you know, like there was always the exploits, right, of the cheats that the game never got rid of. And like the worlds weren't as big and fighting wasn't as complex. I get the games were not as good as they were, but at the time they were revolutionary, right? And I almost ask myself, do video games got to get any better? Can they not stay a thing? But I know that's just me trying to fight off the metaverse in my own private life. But I really, this game made me like really reminisce. I don't know what game it made me resemble when I was a youth, but it brought me back to that, you know. And I don't know. I guess I really I put in a couple more old games that I've played before, and I just was like, man, I really miss when games were complete, man. When like they couldn't, they had to make the game right the first time, or it would just not be complete. And like the world may have not been as complex, but at least like the world that you were in, it felt whole. Like I always feel like games now are clunky. The Halo beta is going on right now, and I said to my friends that like all games are betas now. All games are, even when they're released, they're betas. You know, because they're all live games. They call them living games because they're always adding updates and all of this and that. And I feel a little bad for the younger generation, our kids and stuff, even because they won't get to experience the feeling of like completing a game.
Yeah.
You remember when you were like could 100% a video game?
Yeah.
You don't do that anymore. You're like, I'm waiting for the next thing. You know what I mean? Like, oh, I got all of this weekly content, this monthly content. Like nothing's complete. There's no bookend. There's no like destination to end my travels for my time invested. It's like you keep me on the hamster wheel.
Some games, to go further too, get released in like segments now.
Yeah. Yeah, like the
yeah.
Operations, they have like the which is cool because I'm not mad at it because it's just the way games are, right? Like if I'm going to participate in the new games, I gotta understand I don't play a lot of games anyway, so when I do play, it's for a few hours a week maybe, and I play with my friends, and that's kind of it. It's like a reason to get together. They live out of state or away from me, so it's a beautiful thing. I'm really not complaining, but I bring up the younger generation because my little brother was complaining about Madden. He's playing Madden. He's very good at Madden. You know, I always tell him I'm gonna wax his ass, and then he beats me. But he he likes football and stuff too. So like he actually knows how to execute. He picks all his plays. So he's like real into it, you know. And he's always getting screwed. I was over there and I watched him get screwed over by the mechanics of the game. And that's when it like really hit me that like I don't know. Like I don't feel like we got ripped off in games as much, or like maybe because the pixels were bigger or smaller, whatever it was. It's just like the idea that these games aren't complete. It's just maybe I'm too old to play the new games, you know, and it made me question that. And I'm actually I'm inviting somebody over. I'm just gonna get drunk and we're gonna play old school video games tonight because I'm kind of feeling it. Well, normally I'm not normally into old games, but it's like there's something to me. It's more important about the feeling of my youth than actually experiencing something new. And maybe that's a sign that I'm aging, and hopefully aging gracefully. Unlike Paul Rudd, fucking. Second, Decembertainment. I'll be real quick. I've been hunting a lot this week on top of a broken phone. It has been glorious. I've pretty much hunted the last 4 days. Not for crazy amount of hours. I've gone out every day for at least a few hours, 3, 4. Haven't seen anything yet. Dave, if I get anything and I have extra meat, I'll send it your way. But moral of the story, very relaxing, very peaceful. It was nice to unplug. Something I did notice, though, that the politic thing, I got viscerally upset when the Erie County mask mandate thing was going on. And I think it was because my exposure to it was like microdosed. It was like a super powerful, like, you know, because I wasn't around it as much with the screen broke and the level to read things on my phone is very difficult right now. So
Were you wearing a mask when you were hunting?
No, I'm not wearing.
Aren't you worried about getting variants from the deer?
No, I'm gonna grill it and it's gonna heat it up. I don't eat it raw.
I would eat with the mask just to be sure.
So yeah, very relaxing. And I just want to say my daughter brought up wanting to go hunt with me, and I told her she had to be quiet, and kids can't be quiet. So it's like, it's kind of one of those things of like, pretty much she needs to wait till she's like 9 or 10 at least. I would say maybe 8 the earliest. But it reminded me of you telling your little man there to like pipe down, and he wouldn't. Kind of like literally. It's just kind of reaffirmation of how I feel about it. But yeah, very relaxed. It was very nice. I hope anybody in the audience that goes hunting, you're safe and you got a good harvest. And little personally, somebody I work with nabbed a deer and he shared some of his harvest with us. I felt very fortunate for that because I don't know about you, Dave, but I actually personally love venison. For people who have a taboo about it, it doesn't taste any different. It's just like the gamey. It's all bullshit, dude. Honestly. Put some cheese on there. Put some seasoning in there. You're not going to notice. It's going to be a little... It's like going from white to wheat bread. You know what I mean? Like,
it's a little different, but I enjoy the difference.
It's good. It's from the earth. It's healthier than any cow you're going to eat or anything you're going to buy in a...
It's a lot less fatty than beef.
Yeah, he had a sausage that had like jalapeno and cheese and burgers and hot dogs. It was all processed very well. The guy that made it, I don't know who he was or I'd shut him out, but he did a very good job actually making the sausages and such. So like eating it was a very pleasant experience. No like fatty nuggets or it didn't taste quote gamey or all this shit. And that's something I said like a lot of people, especially during hunt season. It's like I know it's different and I know what you mean, Dave, but just fucking eat it, man. It's like a chicken. It's just another thing to eat. They're beautiful. They're delicious. Don't let them go to waste. Just don't support factory farming. Go hunt. I'm actually at the point right now that my hunting gear, I have enough stuff that I can hunt pretty much 80% of the weather that I experience, maybe 90% of the weather I experience comfortably. I have a tree stand. It's taken me a while. I've learned a lot. Still haven't got nothing, but I'm not discouraged, and it's really beautiful and peaceful. I really enjoy it. So I encourage everybody maybe try to get into a hobby like that or just finding hobbies in general. It makes you a better person. And finally, my real Decembertainment. I told you I was going to watch The Matrix. Well, I'll tell you what. I fell asleep twice watching it.
Is that related to how it was, or is that just because you were tired?
I was very tired. I got to the part where they have a field of people being made by machines.
What did Keanu Reeves say? It's a documentary.
Now, I gotta love it with people. I remember seeing The Matrix on VHS, okay, in 1999 or 2000. I don't know quite the year, but I know it's one of those 2 years because of the time it happened in my life. The movie came out in 1999, so I've seen this movie relatively new. As a child, I was only 9 years old, 8 years old, 10, something like that. So to watch some of this as an adult, I probably got like 40% through it, but I got to the part where he's actually unplugged for the first time and everything. It's just like, let me out, man, let me out. Dave sent me a thing. I don't know if we talked about it, but Mark Zuckerberg was investing in like gloves that let you feel sensations from virtual reality.
Yeah, that's right.
I made the joke today that guy is 2 VRs ahead of us, and I'm being serious. That's why, if you've ever seen the movie Inception, have you?
Yeah.
Yeah, you know how they spin the top to make sure they're in reality? Yeah, that's what the barbecue sauce bottle was in Mark Zuckerberg's house. That's how he knows he's in. That's how he knows he's in VR fucking meta or whatever he's calling this reality he lives in. I joke a lot, but sometimes maybe it's a little of my spirituality or whatever that makes me feel like we're plugged in. But I'm telling you, man, it's completely possible. I'm not saying it is literally The Matrix, but to watch this movie in 1999 I also realized a lot about how far movies have come, which is also I personally am I love movies. I'm not like Kevin Smith, if you know who he is. He's like a super professional amateur movie lover. He's like the highest grade of non-professional professional movie people you can be. I'm not that level, but dude, I love the way movies are shot. I try to like rip apart the story and character development as I watch. I try to enjoy like many things. It like helps me enjoy the movie.
So I feel like those parts of the movies, like the actual like plots and character development, I feel like that's gotten worse over the years.
100. Well, less people care or worry about it. I mean, I took a class in high school about it, but I was like Lord of the Rings, prime example.
Yeah.
That movie really opened me up to like the idea of what it takes to be like to make a film, because they had like all these like super documentary behind the scenes shit that I loved as well. So like really made me appreciate the other side of what you see and like how things are made, and I wanted to make movie props and stuff like that because of that movie. And it like drove me into the arts and everything in high school. But to go full circle, yeah, to see how like a movie like first of all, the theme and the idea of this movie, the only reason they're making the new Matrix is because it's a franchise that they are reviving, because WB, who is Warner Brothers, who owns all these franchises, has a lot of dead franchises. Lord of the Rings is one of them, which the Amazon is booting up with a series of. Matrix and Harry Potter and all these other IPs, Batman, and is always relevant, but they always ramp them up, man. It's like they don't make new franchises; they just redo ones they have because they're guaranteed to sell. So I guess what I'm saying is like back to the whole being complete. The first Matrix, it like you can, like they made that movie like we're not going to be able to make a second one. You know what I mean? And like the direction, the art process, like the way they just. It's beautiful. It's a really good piece of cinematics. Like it's an awesome sci-fi movie, and I think sci-fi movies have come awfully far. I'm not a super into it now, but you know, it's kind of once again they were bound by the times, right? Because the story had to make up for the lack of the ability to have CGI and like computer generated.
Right. Yeah.
And because of that, they had to have better conversation, better dialogue. They had to have better angles because they couldn't have. You know, they couldn't have the camera swoop behind a guy and have him have 50,000 ships like Thanos does. So they had to tell you in a storyboard, like a story that he has 50,000 ships. You know, like it's so cool to like, I know it's real nerdy, but like, this is what I talk about how these people know what they're doing. And when they direct things, they spend millions of dollars and they pay a lot of people, really smart people that know how psychology works and all these other aspects of life. To make these things that we consume, and to watch The Matrix with a modern lens is pretty eye-opening. It's pretty beautiful. It's a fantastic movie. I plan to obviously finish watching it. But yeah, it's kind of one of those things you dip back and maybe this is going to spur a little. I don't want to say retro because I'm not going back to black and white, but maybe I should like visit some of these older movies like this. Not just The Matrix, but V for Vendetta. I've seen a couple times. That's a good watch. That's a little bit older. Because you do kind of notice. Ben Shapiro actually pointed out that the late 80s was like the last time there was pro-American movies. And if you think around that time, you think about like Rocky and like Top Gun and Lethal Weapon, Bruce Willis in Die Hard. It's kind of like maybe it would do us some good being the 30-year-olds to like kind of stretch our legs and go back in little older movie history and kind of get the grasp, kind of like your Kennedy thing there. So
yeah.
Until then, I don't want to bore everybody with our history, but this is Dave and Ryan, December 1773. Thanks for everybody tuning in. We drop Monday Eastern at 7 p.m. Yeah, like, comment, subscribe, Rumble, Facebook, Tumblr, YouTube. My bad.
YouTube. Just think of all the places that censor us. You can't forget it.
Yeah, and I also just want to add a little caveat here. Last week's episode with Christian was awesome. He's an awesome dude, and re-listen to the podcast. It really, like, I know I was a little obnoxious at first, but yeah, but it reaffirmated that he's a great guy. So I'm glad we had him on. You know, pleasure once always, and yeah, people stay locked to the channel. Thank you again. Thank you, David, and have a good night.
Thank you.